books, no? After electrostatics, we do have capacitors. Then comes current density. But in capacitors, we do come across a cell. Without idea of cell, entering into capacitor will be very difficult. That's why we are starting with the resistor chapter. So you recollect one problem like this is our third sphere. Here I will connect one meter which will measure the flow of current. Then I'll take a point charge. So let it start moving with a speed v. So let this be iron sphere. So there's a meter which will measure the flow of charge. So we'll call that as, say, like a galvanometer. So what it does, it will measure the flow of charge through it. It will indicate the direction and also the how much of charge has flown, that one. This is a point charge. Can you remember this? So how to get the induced charge on it? Minus Qi. So what was the method we used here? So potential of point O should be equal to KQi by R plus KQ by X. So what is X? The distance of the point charge from the center of the iron sphere. So we know as it is a earthed conductor, potential should be 0. K so what is the expression for induced charge? Minus QR by X. I'll differentiate this. Let me differentiate. dqi by dt. This should become qr by x square dx by dt. So here x is decreasing, so the negative sign has to come. Okay, we are bothered. So there is some
in VO formula it should be minus KQi by R.
No. I don't know the property of what is the charge induced itself. No, so I came to know it's
charge induced is negative.
Ah, yeah, that only I came to. I proved by the equation. No, here. Okay, fine. About the negative charge is induced. There's a thing. So now I'm going to differentiate. So I'm very sure that now what charge will flow here? The positive charge will be continuous, will be flowing through this here. So if you are considering that moment of positive charge, no, I'll eliminate all. So this will become QR x square into V. This is called like a rate of flow of charge. I'll call this as electrical current. Capital I symbol values. Means now, continuously as I move this point charge with a constant speed V, what I see that this particular galvanometer show deflection. So what it shows, there is a flow of charge, that one, this flow of charge. So like this, what happen? If I move a point charge near an earthed conductor, then what happen? A current is said to be generated in this particular wire. In this particular wire, this rate of flow of charge is what they'll call electrical current. So what is the direction of this current? The direction of current according to this should be in this direction. So how we define this electrical current? Electric current, the symbol is I. We define it as rate of flow of charge. So where this I should be equal to dq by dt. This is the instantaneous current, you can call it. Then what about the average current? Average current we defined as charge flown per unit time taken. So that this will be I average equal to delta Q by delta T. So hereafter, whenever I say current, I'll be saying about instantaneous current only. It is whenever I say current, no, it should be instantaneous current only. If the average, I will mention specifically, separately. So charge flown per unit time is what we call that as current. Means now, like from where this current will come? Due to flow of charge here. Due to flow of charge through a wire. a current is said to be flowing that one. This is called like electrical current. So what is the unit for this will be ampere. Symbol will be capital A. So we'll measure in terms of ampere. So what do you mean by that? If 2 ampere current flows in a wire, if a 2 ampere flows, and it's a scalar quantity in a wire, if a current I flows here, 2 ampere, then what does it mean? So there's a wire, you take it, iron wire, 2 ampere current flows here. So if a 2 ampere flows means how many electrons per second will be flowing. So I'm saying charge, no? So basically how you define charge? I is equal to charge. What is the property? Like a Q equal to N into E. What is E? E is the charge of electron. So how many electrons flowing per second? So they show, therefore it should be like I is equal to N into dN by dt into this one. So dN by dt will be capital N, you write it. So this is what number of charges flowing per second. So 2 ampere charge of electron 1.6 into 10 to the power of 19. So 20, 10, 10, 10 to the power of 19 will be there, no? 20 by 16, 10 to the power of 19. 10 by 8, 5 by 4, or 1.25 into 10 to the power of 19. These many electrons per second will be flowing through the wire. If a 2 ampere current is said to be flowing. I think it's not a small number, no? You check it. There's a one basic idea of like how many electrons will be passing through a wire through a given cross section if 2 ampere is said to be flowing. So current by charge of electron will give us the number of electrons flowing per second through a given cross section of the wire. So like this, I introduced to the idea of rate of flow of charge is called as a current. Average current we define as charge flown per unit time. Instantaneous current as rate of flow of charge. Okay, let's come for we are interested in the to know particular the resistance, all that particular thing. So now, so we are in little bit some modern physics. We know little bit of modern physics. Actually, which charge will be flowing through a conductor? Proton or electron? It's only electron. We know now we know modern atomic structure. So what is the positive charge? Where do positive charge of conductor will reside? Inside the nucleus. No, it is actually only the negative charge of an atom is what which is in motion. So then nothing but what we call free electron. So if I take a conductor, so let me apply a potential difference. I'll take help of a cell. Okay, this time being cell means you find very difficult. So everyone I think nowadays in wall clock or somewhere will be using. No? So on it will be written 1.2 volt. So some Duracell. I think you can easily recollect things now. So this is called like a cell or a battery. A group of cells is called as a battery. So what is this? This is called like a constant voltage source. So what it does, it will maintain a constant potential difference across its terminals, where A and B are called as the terminals, which I can use for electrical connection. So what is VAB now? The potential difference, or EAB should be equal to 1.2 volt. Is it okay? Whenever I say cell no, you just recollect this particular thing. So it will be much easier for you. Okay, this is a conductor. This particular app is called as a Scribbler. It's a very popular app nowadays used in America. I just got gathered the information. exclusively made for teachers. So that's why I just brought it. So we do have many good features, especially meant for teaching this one. So that's why I took help of this one. It's quite very, you can say convenient and very stable also. Okay, no. This particular potential difference, there's a conductor. So will there be any electric field is set up? So this end is positive, this is negative, no? So this end will become positively charged. This end will be positively charged, this end will be negative charged. So inside that what happen? Then an electric field is generated. Now very first question, sir, is it a conductor? Yes, it is a copper. What should be the net field inside the conductor due to static charges? Due to static charges, it must be zero. But here what happened? I applied a potential difference. Electric field inside the conductor must be zero. Will I agree with this statement? Answer is no. Due to static charges should be zero. Here I am providing a potential difference. Who will provide potential difference? This particular cell. This particular setup is called a cell, that one. So you time being now, you directly accept it. A potential difference is set up across the cell. Let L be the length of the conductor and let A be the area of cross section of it. We'll define few quantities. I'll define few quantities. So let eta be the concentration of free electrons. So what do you mean by concentration? Number of electrons per unit volume, or electron density. If you're getting confusion this, electron density or number of electrons per unit volume. And different books, they number of electrons per unit volume. Okay, now this particular electron, so in what direction the electron will experience a force? Electron will experience force towards left. That one. What is the state of electron inside the conductor? It will be moving randomly, no? So if you take inside the conductor, what is the state of electron? Electron will be having a random path. This particular electron will be having a random motion. So the speed of this random motion will be of order 10 to power of 6 meter per second. It's not a small one. Due to thermal agitation. Why do that random motion? Due to thermal agitation. Again, further, the electron will collide with the atom or with adjacent electrons. Because of that, it will be moving random. Similar to like atoms in a KTG, atoms in a gas, they're moving random motion. No? The similar is what happens for the electron inside a conductor. So what is the state of electrons? It will be moving in a random motion. With what speed? With a speed of 10 to the power of 6 meter per second. I think definitely you have to be careful. This data is there in the NCERT book and in SC Verma. Inside the conductor, the free electron will be moving in random motion with a speed 10 to the power of 100,000 meter or 10 to the power of 6 meter per second. Of order it is, not exactly equal, of order. Will it move with a constant speed? No, on and it's the average speed it is. Now it will be moving. So the moment when I apply a potential difference across a conductor, the electrons inside that will experience a net resultant force. So due to that what happen? They don't move in one specific order. Still they'll be moving like this. So why do this zigzag path? This electron will start experiencing a force. So because of that, here what is the state of electron? The electron will be having random motion velocity and say like it is having some velocity like this. Electrostatic force will act here. Then resultant it will move like this. It will encounter collision. Then again, so here it will change its path. So continuously again it will be acted upon by force. So like that, what the state of electron? Electron open continuously will undergo collision. So what is this star mark? It will encounter collisions here. Then we'll look at the distance x1, x2, x3, x4. They are not equal. The distance covered by the electron between two successive collisions will be different. And what about the time taken? So here it will take time t1, this will be t2, t3, t4. Then what is the time taken between successive collisions? Will be different for different nth collision, that one. Then I'll take the average of this. Average distance moved between two successive collisions, x1 plus x2 plus x3 plus x4, xn by n. Similarly, average time between two successive collisions. They're called like t1, t2, t3, t4, and tn by n. So shall I call this tn, t1, t2, t3 some sort of like a relaxation time? What do you mean by relaxation? The path covered by the electron without collision, or the time taken by the collision, the time taken by the electron to traverse inside the conductor without collision is called like a relaxation time. We'll define some word. So what is the tau? Tau will be, this is called like a relaxation time here. So what do you mean by this? The symbol will be average time average time traversed by the electron between two successive collisions. Similarly, we'll define x1, x2, x3, x4 by xn. Average distance covered by the electron between two successive collisions. So this is the, that is a, we don't have any specific like a symbol for that. I just do remember that one. So this is what actually, this relaxation time very important. And it'll be different for different materials. We are discussing motion of charge particle inside a conductor. Purely we are to go for statistical physics. Since it is beyond our reach of syllabus now. Therefore, some small ideas we are just taking and we are entering into the topic. So what in NCERT book or in SEORMA they did, no, just a basic idea they took. See, we know acceleration, force, average velocity. With that we are proceeding. But in depth, I think almost around 26 pages are there. What I'm going to conclude now within 10 minutes, no. So the description, everything is there for 26 pages in motion of conductor, motion of charge particle in a conductor, and how that electrical resistance is determined. We're just only brushing up things. Okay, let's proceed now. So what is the state of electron? So without any applied potential difference, what is the state of electron will be random motion. Now, as I apply the potential difference across a conductor, like a copper cylinder, then the electrons inside that open, they'll start moving. Because of electric field, they don't just move in a straight line. Still, they'll have that random motion. Why that random motion? Because of collision of electrons with the adjacent atom. Because as the electrons start accelerating, then it will encounter an atom, it will collide. Then due to collision, what happen? It will change its path. So therefore, the zigzag path. Why zigzag path? Zigzag path due to collisions. What type of collision it is? Elastic or inelastic collision? Electron here encounters inelastic collisions. So this data is very important. All the collisions encountered by the electron inside the conductor is inelastic in nature. I'm just underlining things here. Okay, after this, okay, let's go for, so what is our main purpose? I'm interested to get expression for the current I, this expression for the current I that is flowing here. and the applied potential difference, and how the shape of conductor will determine all these particular parameter. So we are just going to derive an expression for the Ohm's law. That was our main purpose here. Okay, let's define that one. So distance covered by the electron is equal to A tau square by 2. So what is L? L is average distance covered between two successive collisions. Tau is the average distance, average time taken by the electron to move, to traverse between two successive collisions. So what all that acceleration is due to applied force, applied electric field. So Q E by M. This is tau square. So then I'll define a quantity called as a drift speed. There's one more quantity called a drift speed. The symbol is VD. So how to define this speed here? It's a ratio of average distance covered between two successive collisions by time taken, average time taken between two successive collisions. So this should be equal to how much? No, this should be equal to L by tau. So what is the drift speed? No, this is a generalized formula. L by tau. Okay, now the drift speed, I'll substitute the value of L here. 1 by tau QE tau square by 2m. Okay, this is the expression for the drift speed. If you check this one, no, in SAT book 2 is not there. Here we just assume that between two successive collisions, it will move with a uniform exerted motion because of uniform electric field is applied. In NCT book, he has used some other approach where the 2 is not there. Both are correct. It doesn't mean only the way of bringing is different here. I'm making things clear. If you refer NCT book, 2 will not be there. We just use the basic definition, you wrote it. in HC Verma, because he wanted to bring the idea that why that electron will move in that zigzag path because of the applied electric field. What all that electron is there, no? That electron will move in the zigzag path due to applied electric field, and also due to the collisions. So that particular, to impart that idea, what happened, the SC Verma, he has brought this equation. In NCT book, what happened, they just discussed statically using statistics, they brought it where 2 will be missing. Both approaches are correct, doesn't make much difference. I'm making things clear. Okay, fine. So there's an expression for this period. What is tau? Relaxation time. M is mass of electron. Q is the charge of electron. E is a applied electric field. This NCT book, or you go for the NCT book only. QE tau by M. So I'll write down the formula. QE tau by M. In NCT book. So still it's advisable to think like in SU Verma, because in NCT book he has given expression you find very difficult. In SU Verma it will be quite easy for you. Okay, there's the expression for the drift speed and it'll be very convenient for you. Okay, fine. So what is the order of this speed now? So how much usually this speed will be? This will be of order. This will be of order 10 to power of minus 4 meter per second. This will be a very small speed, no? Why drift word is used? Because like as if you take electron, the electron what will happen? Just wants to move in a random motion, no? What all that electron it move in random motion, and what all the displacement is having due to applied electric field. So shall I say that electric field will force it to undergo displacement? I'll take you to the diagram. You look at this electric field, no? So it will force it, no? So this particular electrostatic field is there. What happen? It will act on electron towards left. So what is the path of electron? How it wants to move? It wants to move randomly. Try to see the spot I'm moving. So it wants to move randomly like this due to collision. Here is what happens. It will be random motion. But because of applied electric field now, instead of random path, what happens? It starts moving in zigzag path. Why zigzag path? Because of applied electrostatic field and the collisions with the adjacent atoms and electrons. So shall I say it is being drifted forcibly, it is being pushed from right to left. So it's being, the motion and influence of some force is called like a drift. So it will move like this, zigzag path here. So like this, many electrons, several electrons, they're moving in the zigzag path. What is the speed now? The speed will be of order. The speed is of order how much? 10 to the power of minus 4, which is very, very small. No, if I switch off this electric field inside the conductor, then the random speed, how much? 10 to the power of 6 meter per second. If I apply electric field, then it will move. So now you can ask question, sir, why you didn't brought anything random motion in the discussion? So what is the net displacement due to random motion? Will be zero, no? So what is the average speed due to random motion? Will be zero. So what all the displacement is having only due to drift. Therefore, the speed is what we say average displacement by average time taken between two successive collision. So like this, the formula is brought here. All of you getting the method like, because what is the net displacement due to random motion will become zero. Now you ask question, sir, without electric field in conductor, random motion. With electric field, will there be random motion? Yes, it will be there, but it will be very small. That's what I'm telling, zigzag path. The random motion will be reduced. It will not move in a straight line path. But sir, according to electrostatics, electrons should move in the direction of lines of force because uniform electric field is there. Yes, as it wants to move here, what will happen? Electrostatic force will act, no? Because of say initial some velocity here. So it will go for some arbitrary path here. It will encounter collision. Continuously electrostatic force will be acting towards left. Due to collisions, what happens in direction. So because of that, what happens? There'll be some small random path will be there. Not like very much random path like earlier. Okay, there's the initial theoretical part about this speed and all other things here. Okay, now what is our primary question? I want expression for the current. That one. So how we define current? Rate of flow of charge. Let me introduce once again. Electric current is defined as rate of flow of charge here. So this I, this current I should define as rate of flow of charge. What do you mean by rate of flow of charge? Number of charges flowing per second. How to predict that? So let me take help of, again the same diagram, rough diagram will have it. So let me assume a strip of width dx. Here this electron. And this is the direction of electric field. Okay, now can we calculate how many charges that has flown through this particular surface? Can we tell how many charges that are present in this surface area of area A and thickness D or volume, or what happen will be dx? Anybody? So we know concentration of free electrons, no? So can we write anything expression for dq? The number of charges that are passing through this elemental disk in an interval of time. dq should be equal to concentration of free electrons into A into dx. Into what? Charge of electron. Charge of electron, let me write q, because only what we'll use for EMF, no? This one. So what is q now? Q will be charge of electron. Will I agree this formula? What is eta? Concentration on electron density. Electron density into volume, what you get? Number of electrons. So what is dq now? The number of charges present in this elemental volume. So how we define current now? dq by dt. So this should be equal to eta A dx by dt into q. What is dx by dt? That should be the speed of this electron, no? So therefore, I am bringing expression now, eta A the speed into charge. This capital I will write it. So like this, the current flowing through a wire and the drift speed, they are related by this equation. So what is eta? Eta will define, eta is concentration of free electrons. So now I'll define one more quantity called as current density. This is like a electric current flowing normally per unit area. So what is the symbol for current density? J, J equal to I by A. So from the formula, what is I by A? Eta Q into this speed. So there's one more formula. It's a vector quantity. Yeah? So how it will be directed? It will be directed normal to the area of cross section. So what is the direction of current? So charge is flowing here. So the current density will be directed in this way. It's a vector quantity. Current density, we define it as a vector quantity. And now will be directed normal to the surface through which a current is flowing. So what is the direction of current? The direction of current will be like opposite to flow of electron, or in the direction of conventional charge. Actually, electron alone is flowing. Since what all electrostatics, we assume unit positive charge, no? The test charge was positive. So we can assume a conventional current. So what is this I now? This I is a conventional current. Okay, now finally, so we brought an expression for the current density here. So let's go for now after this, after getting current density. So here we'll try to get the relation between the potential difference and applied field, all other parameters. So what is E is equal to? E is the electric field. So we applied a potential difference. V and L is the length of the conductor. This was positive, negative. Okay, fine. Okay, this is the expression for the current density here. Now, how this current density and electric field, they are related. This particular thing. So this is about the current density I brought. It's a vector quantity. Why do this particular thing? So let's bring the expression for the drift speed. Can you remember formula? What we had? I'll write down that formula. The drift speed was equal to Q E tau by M. Is it okay now? So let me take help of that equation. Let's proceed like this here, no? So let me substitute the drift speed in this equation. So J is equal to eta Q into, this will be Q E tau by M, or eta Q square tau by M. If you want to account epsilon, 2 will come. Account NCT, 2 will not be there. So it's left to you. Just pick up the formula which is there in NCT here. So this should be equal to E. So this should become equal to sigma into E, where sigma is called as a conductivity. Conductivity of material of conductor. This one. So the reciprocal of this is called like a rho, where rho is called as resistivity of a conductor. So what should be the sigma is equal to, no? Sigma should be equal to eta Q square tau by M. Look at all the quantities, or rho what you can write it as 1 by sigma, reciprocal of this, M eta Q square by tau. Look at all the quantities here now. Tau depends on what? Material. M is mass of electron. So what is the resistivity of a conductor? Shall I say it depends upon the material? Resistivity of conductor of material. Shall I expand this? So shall I say that it's a property of material? Copper and aluminum, will they have same resistivity? No, the tau will be different for different material. Eta will be different for different. M and Q are same. Mass and Q is, I'll write down all the parameters. What is M? Mass of electron. What is Q? Charge of electron. Eta and tau, what happened? Already we defined it. Concentration of free electron. Tau is the relaxation time. So eta and tau, what happened? Eta and tau are different for different material. Are different for materials. Okay, no. So let's take help of this particular thing. We arrived at here. J is equal to E by rho. This further, I will simplify it. As we know, J equal to E by rho. What is J? I by A. Current per unit area. What is E? Electric field. Potential difference by length. Account electrostatics. So therefore, now, so this V is equal to, so it will become I rho L by A. Where this rho L by A, I'll call it as R, or what you can call the resistance of a conductor. R equal to rho L by A. This is called like a resistance of a conductor. Now this resistance depends on what? What do you mean by resistance? Resistance to what? To the flow of charge. It depends on what? The material, the length of conductor. If more the length, what happens? More number of collisions, more number of collisions. If the length of conductor increases, more collisions it should undergo. The same diagram, I'll just will continue. So this particular electron, it will move in a zigzag path. And there's a direction of electric field. We applied a potential difference V. Let L be the length of conductor. So if n was positive, this will be negative. Because of that, the electric field will be like this. And this electron will experience a force here. What do you mean by resistance? Resistance to what? Resistance to the flow of charge by the material of conductors. How you define electrical resistance? It's a measure of opposition to the flow of charge by the material of conductor. So greater the length, more collisions it should undergo, no? more collisions it will undergo. So therefore the resistance will increase like this. If I increase the area of cross section, resistance will decrease. What do you mean by that? If I increase the area of cross section, then what happens? More charges can pass through it. More charges means more current. The resistance will decrease, no? So therefore the resistance depends on what? Depends on the physical parameters, length, area of cross section, length, this area of cross section, and the material. You increase potential difference, V. What will happen to this one? Proportionally, E will increase, then I will increase. But what happened to resistance of conductor will not change. So therefore, what is Ohm's law? So this what actually, the Ohm's law is what is saying that one. This particular relationship, we'll call it as, both are Ohm's law here. So what is the Ohm's law? Voltage is directly proportional to current. To remove this proportionality is bringing constant called as the resistance of a conductor. So as you increase potential difference, the current flowing through it will increase. The current flowing through a conductor will increase. But what happened to resistance of conductor will remain same. There's basically a difference here. Okay, let's come back to now. Let's talk about the energy. This is a cell. Who will provide this potential difference? This particular cell, plus minus. This will be call this AB, that one. Now, how the current will flow in this direction. What actually happens here? What actually happens? So here, so you just let's compare these to the things like this. In a garden, you might have seen slide, no? And there's one very best example is what we can take help to understand what do you mean by this one. So let's take a kid. Now the kid, what happen? Will climb up. Okay, the kid will climb up. So initially he was here, no? What is the potential of that will be zero. It climbs up. How much of potential you'll acquire? mgh. Then what happened to the kid? Kid will slide here. He will slide on it, and finally what happened? He will come onto the ground. Okay, now from rest you will climb up. You will be at rest here. Then again you will gradually climb down. Again you'll come to rest. Let's see that what happened to energy. The kid does work, no? His muscle forces will do work. So gravitational potential increase. As this slides down, so gradually let him slide down and will come to rest here. So what happened? The decrease in potential energy. It is utilized to overcome the resistive force offered by the slide to his body. So gradually come down. No? So tell me, like, what all work done by kid? What happened? It got converted into heat, no? And finally what happened? Potential energy becomes zero, and he has come to the same thing happens. So here let's assume a positive charge. I am explaining some very good concept. Try to instead of electron, no, let me take positive charge. Little bit easy for you. So here a positive charge, this positive charge what happen? Will move here. So what make this positive charge to move like this? It will move from B to A. It will have more energy. With that energy what happen? It will flow through a wire. It will come here. The moment it enters into the conductor, how the electric field is towards right, no? So the positive charge in what direction will experience force? Towards right. So as it is moving, it will encounter collision. What all the kinetic energy it is having, no? With that kinetic energy, what will happen? It will pass through this conductor. It will encounter collision. There, it will lose its kinetic energy in the form of heat due to inelastic collision. Finally, when the energy becomes zero, it will be attracted by the negative term, because positive charge will be attracted by negative terminal, and it will come here. So what actually, again the cell, what it will do, it will energize that particular charge. The charge gets energized. After getting energized, again this charge, what happen, will move through a wire like this. Will move through a wire. The moment it enters into the conductor, so what this conductor will do here, because of electrostatic field here, this particular electron, what happen, will experience a force as it is moving. It will encounter in elastic collision, it will lose all of its energy here in the form of heat. Once energy becomes zero, again it return back. So like that, tell me like what this cell is doing. Shall I say it is supplying energy to the charge, and the charge weapon gets energized. With that energy, it will cross through this conductor. You see that one, it will cross through the conductor. To cross through the conductor weapon, it need energy. Who will provide? The cell. And what happened to energy in the conductor will be converted as heat due to inelastic collision. So what this conductor is doing, shall I say it is doing red carpet welcome to the charge, or it is opposing flow of charge? It opposes flow of charge. The measure of opposition to the flow of charge by the material of conductor is called as a resistance. And how much that resistance depends on physical parameters, length, area of cross-section, material. That's what happens here. Okay, now sir, how come this cell can provide the energy? So who does work? External agent here. Some electrolysis, chemical reaction. So you go back to the concept like this: work done by external agent in moving a charge from B to A. What is the formula? Q into VA minus VB, no? Since potential of A greater than B. So therefore, open the battery inside the material of a cell, some chemical solutions will be there. Electrolysis process will undergo. Due to that chemical reaction, energy will be available. This energy is utilized by the cell to do work on a charge. So once here open, the charge will be here, it will have energy, that one, the charge which is there, no? The battery does work. So because of that, the positive charge will move from negative terminal to positive terminal. Here what happen, the cell, the charge is having now energy. With that energy, what will happen? It will cross over this conductor. What happened to energy when it crossing through conductor? It will lose in the form of heat due to inelastic collision. Once energy becomes zero, it will be attracted by negative terminal. So like that, continuously this cell will supply energy. And continuously what happen? The conductor will consume energy, will dissipate. I think there are two things are there. What cell generates energy? And what about the conductor? Dissipates energy. So here I'll use word dissipates. Dissipates. Here it is, or electrical energy is dissipated. Here it is generated. So how to calculate this, all this power generated all? So we know what is the account to electrostatics. This work done, dW equal to Q into V, potential difference. This will be, so dW by dt. Shall I write dQ by dt into, so I'm going back to the basics of electrostatics. VAB is the potential difference. So what is dW by dt? The rate at which the cell does work. So the rate of work done is what we'll call power. So dQ by dt is what? Current. And what is VAB? Potential difference of a cell, or EMF of a cell, we'll call it. Or time being you write only V. So this is what power generated by a cell. I am really introducing to one of the best idea of this one here. Huh? So what is the duty of cell? It will give energy. It will energize the charge. So with that energy open, the charge will overcome or will pass through the conductor. So when passing through conductor, lose energy and will come out. So what is the conductor? Will it happily allow the charge to flow? No. This one. And you look at this one. Who is actually flowing? Proton or electron inside the conductor? The electron only. Opposite flow of electron, we are assuming a hypothetical positive charge. So therefore, this current I is called as a conventional current, not actual current. how the electron current will flow opposite to this. Opposite to flow of electron, we are assuming a current. That's why I use word this as conventional current. So one specific name I'll give it. So there's a power generated by a cell. And then what is the power dissipated by conductor? Power dissipated by a resistor. This is PR, you write it, huh? Is equal to I square R, or according to Ohm's law, V square by R. Don't write V into I. V into I is what? Of course, mathematically correct, but theoretically what happened? So what we have to say? Power generated by cell is current flowing through a cell into potential difference across it. Then what is the power dissipated in resistor? I square R. What is R? R is the resistance of conductor. And the R depends on what? Rho L by E. So like this, what happened? We have brought it. So here I think I'll still more very simplest way I'll conclude things. This is a bulb, no? Let me take this one. Inside the bulb will have a filament, and this I'll connect it to a cell. Potential difference, let it be AB. Now bulb starts glowing, no? So from here what happens now, we'll get light. Now what actually happens here? And this particular thing is the filament, no? This is called like a filament. This filament R is the resistance of this filament. And what is that I? I is this one. Now, who will supply energy to the bulb? This particular cell. And inside this cell, what happens? Chemical reaction. It's a electrochemical cell, which will convert chemical energy into electrical energy. So we can have anything. The power generated can be by anybody, chemical, so chemical to electrical, mechanical to electrical, any what can be that one. But what should be the output of a cell? Should be electrical energy. So like this, I'm taking electrochemical cell here. So chemical reaction will occur. Due to chemical reaction, what happen? There, the material of the cell will display the positive charge from lower to higher potential. Nothing but the material of cell does positive work. It's like external agent. It will supply energy to the charge. That charge open with energy, it will go, and here it will encounter resistance inside the filament of the bulb. There what all that energy is there, no, will get converted into heat due to inelastic collision. Due to that heat, temperature of filament will increase. And you know Wien's displacement law or Stephen's law, sigma E A T to power of 4. E is the emissivity of that filament, A is the area of cross-section of filament, not area of cross-section of bulb. Then it's what you'll do, the electrons which are present there, they'll start vibrating. Due to that vibration, electromagnetic wave is generated. And like that, we'll get here light energy. Tell me what's happening here. Chemical energy is converted into electrical energy by the cell. What it does? Chemical energy is converted into electrical energy. So what it does? Electrical energy into heat, and heat, and that is heat into thermal radiation. Okay, this is what all that energy conversion it occurs here. We'll be discussing tomorrow. We'll discuss about the series parallel and proceed further. Okay, no. So thank you all of you. We'll meet tomorrow. Okay, bye all of you. Take care. I'll check it. I'll check it. That recording, no, I sent PDF. You have to open that PDF directly. If you click, it will not take you. You have to type that particular link.